Alright, this is going to be the Photoshop tutorial on the list of items that you gave Tony. We're going to start off with the images. I've already got Photoshop preloaded. What you're going to want to do is anytime dealing with images, of course you're going to want to start a new project. You already should know the basics. If not, doesn't matter pretty much what I choose for this demo. It's just a tutorial, so I'm just going to use default stuff from projects that I've been doing. But for loading an image into CS5, it's pretty much the same for any Photoshop. You go into File, Open, and then when you're in Open, you'll go to wherever you keep your picture files that you use. Right here. Sorry, had to add a couple images in there. Alright, and I'm going to choose this image, which is Supernova. And what it does is it creates a whole new tab just for that image that you created. Now, what you can do is if you want to do multiples, you can click on the first image and the last image you want to add. Well, when you click on the first one, you want to hold shift and then click on the last one, and it'll select all, and then you can open them, and it will one by one open all the pages of images that you've clicked to load. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways to go ahead and load the images. That was the loading images into Photoshop. This is going to be managing the images inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a new layer, which is Control-Shift-N if you're just using the keys. If not, you go up to the layer, new, then go to layer, and as it tells you, it's Shift-Control-N. Alright, and see, all we have is our new layer, so we'll go to the Supernova. This is the quick process. You use your marquee tool and take the whole outline of the image, as you see here, and then you Control-C, which is copy, and then you can go back over here and on your new layer push Control-V, which is paste, and because I'm at 25%, it's that small. We'll zoom in, and I have that image. Now, what I'm going to show you is the long way to do it, which is same basic principles. You gotta go ahead, you gotta use your marquee tool to outline your image. And you want to go up here to edit, copy, which shows you as Control-C. Then you'll go back over here to your project. You'll create a new layer, which is Control-Shift-N. Normally it'll create one for you, but just for safety's sake, I go ahead and create one. And then you go back to edit and paste, which it shows you as Control-V. And as it put the layer on top of the other one, you go to the move tool, and you can, as long as you have the layer selected, you can move that image. I just moved that image right there. So that is how you manage your images inside. That's how you get it from the loading page that you loaded the image into onto your project. Now, in order to resize, you can use a couple different methods. Resizing, normally, if you just get a decent outline of your image and press Control-T, which is transform. Whoops, got a little bit too wild in my marquee there. Try to get it as close as you can. I think that's pretty accurate. And then Control-T for transform, and you can transform it to make it smaller or bigger, but notice when you do this, it'll get more and more pixelated depending on the resolution you used when you created the file, when you created the project file. And it's going to look all blurry like this until you actually hit apply, and then it should clear up. As you see, it pretty much cleared up. Then we're going to hit Control-D for deselect, and then you got that image. Now if you want to make it smaller, same process. on resizing. It's normally better to make big images smaller rather than small images bigger, because then you'll run into that pixelation. But Control T again, and we can make it small, apply, and move it around. Now you can also use, if I was to, I'm going to undo that last couple steps and make it big again. You can also use the crop tool. Now, it's basically the same as the rectangle tool, as the rectangular marquee. You just start at a point and drag it, and it'll make a square. And then, as you see, it'll give you the option to resize the crop that you want to do. Say I want to crop it like that, and I cropped the image, and there it is. And what it did was it cropped the image completely on the whole project. So what we're going to do is Control Alt Z and undo it. I prefer to use the method with the rectangular marquee and Control T, because it doesn't run into that problem of cropping the whole project. So as I said, you Control T to transform after you put it in the marquee, apply, and you can move it around. And if you don't get it exactly right, as you can see, it'll leave this residue. And a little feature I'll show you, I don't know if you already know this, but as long as layer 2 is selected, which is this image, I can't erase this bottom image as much as I try. Just as if I was on layer 1, I can't erase this top image. So whatever layer that you have selected, you will not be able to edit anything but that layer. So make sure that you have the proper layer selected when you start doing it. And I'm just going to go ahead and delete that little extra line from when I resized, when I didn't get everything just right. Sometimes it'll leave some residue. And we'll move it around. And as you see, I can move this layer around and this layer around without having to worry about messing anything else up. Alright, now let me close these. I'm going to show you how to take the background out of an image. So we're going to go ahead and turn these layers off so that way we have a clear workspace. I'm going to go into File, Open to load our images. I'm going to go to My Pictures, and I'm going to use something with a white background, like this picture of this anime character. And as you see, it has a white background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get the paint bucket tool, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a vibrant color, a little aqua color. Select the background, change it to that aqua color, and we do the same process to import the image. This is the easiest way to do it. Use the marquee tool, outline the image, Control C for copy, Control V for paste on your original document. And as I said, as you see, it created the own layer. Now, another thing about transforming these images, you don't really have to use the marquee tool. You can just Control T as long as the layer is selected, and it will allow you to edit that image. Now, as you see, I have this white square on here. So what we're going to do in order to remove it is we're going to go right here with our marquee tool, and we're going to try to line it up as close as we can. And as you see, the image is outlined. We're going to go to Select, go into Color Range, and as you see, it's all black right now. You're going to use your little color dropper from the Color Range tool, and you're going to select all the white. Now, keep in mind that it's going to take out all the white in the image. So if there's a lot of white in the image, like probably right here, that it might not touch that because it's a different shade, but if it's anything that's this shade, it will take out. So what we're going to do is, we've clicked this already, and as you see, it's all the white, and you got the black darkened image, and you're going to click OK. And as you see, when you do that, it outlines the image, the actual stuff that it's not going to take out, and it leaves everything else, and you hit delete, and then there's your image, and you just hit Control D for deselect, and you're going to move it around, and that's how you take the white out of your images. If it's a white or black or any other color that you need, as long as it's a solid color. Now, it gets tricky if it's multiple colors or a kind of pattern that's gradient in there. It gets a bit tricky because then you have all those different shades and you have to go in there and manually do it, and 90% of the time it'll end up taking out of the image itself. So that is how we remove the white background from an image. And I believe the last one is do erasing of the background for different effects. So say you select the background. Well, let's create another layer because it doesn't allow you to really mess with the background layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another layer, the same color. Do that, and then I'll turn that layer off. And since I have this selected, you can use your eraser tool, and you can deal with the opacity. As long as it's in the brush mode, you can deal with the opacity, and you can change it to about, I'll use 30% for this demonstration, and everything around him, you see 30% will lighten it, showing that checkerboard behind there, which means that I've taken the other layer off. And as you see, it's not completely gone, but it's very, 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 very clear. So in order to, let me show you on a different area, I'll move the image over, and as you see, it still has all that from behind. I'll move the image over, select the tool again, and I'll go down to about 8%. And with 8%, you hardly see a difference. So we'll go to 16. And we'll see what we can do. And as you see, I'm actually fading the image out because I made a boo-boo and didn't select the correct layer. But this is what happens when you don't make sure that the layer is on, which it's alright because it can all be undone with Control-Alt-Z. And see, I left, when you use the eraser tool and you click and then you let up off of it and click again, it creates a separate process. So this was a separate process, so I'll just hit Control-Z again and everything is fine. And I hit it one more time just to make sure everything was good, and it moved it back. And I accidentally just moved that. So we're going to select that layer again, and then we're going to go up here, the opacity 16, so behind him, here we go, dealing with that. Probably can't really tell much of a difference with that, but if I was posting another color in the background, which let's say it's going to be a darker color, as you see, you can see the effects of what you're erasing. And that is how you make the background opaque.